Most Muslims ignore these 3 procrastination killers, and if they only dealt with them once and for all, they would change their whole life when it comes to business, their fitness, their deen, and more. I'm Ameen, and alhamdulillah, I've coached hundreds of Muslim men on their business and life, and I wrote that book over there on how to be a top Muslim man according to what Allah loves. And I built a few businesses in the process. So if you're an ambitious brother who wants to achieve big things in your life when it comes to your deen, your business, your income, your finance, you want your wife to look up to you and admire and respect you, and not to mention look in the mirror and respect the man looking back, then it's simple. You need to have goals and take aggressive action on them. But the only way to take aggressive action is to destroy the reasons that you procrastinate. We all procrastinate, is just at different levels. And the most successful people, they don't procrastinate half as much as those that are stuck behind. So in this video, we're going to cover the 3 reasons you procrastinate and destroy them one at a time. Let's go. So succeeding in any goal in life, it's like growing a tree that gives you fruit. The seed that the tree starts off with is your intention. If your intention is rotten, then there's not much gonna come from this seed that you plant. It either won't grow or will grow into a rotten tree in the first place. So you gotta start with the right intention. Next is the soil in which you plant that seed. That is how halal your goals actually are. And I don't just mean halal, of course, I'm not doing any haram, but I also mean how good are the intentions behind that goal and how much are you seeking Allah's pleasure by doing that goal. Because you could plant a seed in some toxic soil and it might grow a little bit, but then once the fruit comes out, you eat it, you'll get sick and die. And then the actual work that you put in to grow this seed that you've planted in certain soil, the watering, the fertilizing, the pruning, the making sure it doesn't get any diseases, any pests come to it, that is the work that you do to make sure this tree grows. You don't just throw the seed near the soil and push it down a little bit and leave it and make dua. No, you do take action on it, and that is what we mean when we say watering and pruning it and taking care of it on a daily basis. So that's how you grow your goal into a tree that actually feeds you. Having a good intention, doing it the halal, mubarak way, and then putting in the work to make sure that it grows and feeds you. And here's the problem. My belief is that we need Muslim men to stand up. That's why I started the front row, and that's why I make these videos, because I believe if we could capture the big ambitions of Muslim men and we help them to take more action, to stop procrastinating, then they would go on to change the world. There are thousands of ways. One brother that I'm working with right now, he wants to make documentaries that have a dawah kind of angle to them. Other people want to start big businesses and move to the Muslim world for themselves, their family, and I'm sure they'll have an impact over there as well. Each one of the Muslim men out there have thousands of different ambitions and goals that they would impact the world with. But if they don't take action, if they procrastinate, none of that becomes a reality. That's why I'm so passionate about unlocking you and making sure you remove the barriers to achieving your big goals in life. And a lot of brothers are procrastinating. They're not taking care of their tree. One reason is because they don't have a big vision. Their vision in life is to just live a comfortable life and provide for themselves and their family, and that's about it. Another thing is they don't pay attention to the goals they have in life, how halal they are, the way that they approach them, how halal that is, and also the fact that they're doing it really for a deep way and meaning to please Allah. They have that meaning behind it. It's not just for their desires in this life. There is an akhirah element to it. And then finally, they're not taking action. They're not taking aggressive action towards that goal. What I mean by that is being a little bit obsessed, taking aggressive action. Some people, they want to start a big business and live off it, and it provides for them, and they can live anywhere in the world and they can live this amazing lifestyle, but all they're putting into it or willing to put into it is 2-3 hours a week, right? So they need a full system of how to also take action at the right level and the right amount of action. And when brothers don't take care of those things, they kind of fail on different levels. So the first individual level is they don't have a close connection to Allah. They're not bothered about their akhirah too much. They're not doing their ibadah. They're not learning Arabic to understand the Quran. And even on a jobs level, they're doing jobs that they hate, jobs that maybe compromise their values, but they're just doing it anyway. And it's sucking the soul and fulfillment out of their life. Then on a family level, they're affected because sometimes their wives have to work because they don't earn enough. And then their kids don't get the best upbringing. They have to put them in certain schools. They can't afford schools. They can't afford tutors. because their children's upbringing is compromised. And then ultimately, because of the way they're living and they're not taking aggressive action, they are compromised in the role model they are for their kids and their wife. So their wife kind of doesn't fully respect them as much as they'd like. They're not the best role model they could be for their kids, so they grow up to be confident, strong Muslims. And then on an ummah level, if we're not taking action, we're procrastinating, it means we're not starting the charities we want to start. We're not growing the businesses that have Muslim Islamic values and hire people and let people work in a place with Islamic values. And we're not able to have the political and the social influence that we would like to have to change the world for the better either. And some of you might be thinking, is it really that deep? Like all of these problems in the world come down to just procrastination? And yes, I do think that. I believe that deeply. If we don't take action, then nothing will happen. So we have to become good at taking action, because all the different projects you want to do in your life on a personal basis, family basis, ummah basis, it all comes down to your ability to do. And so I really believe it's that fundamental. It's so important that we really can't ignore it. But once we work on it, it's not too difficult to get a handle of, and that's what we're going to go into right now. So the first thing is the seed that grows the tree. You need a strong intention. And to have a strong intention, you need to have a vision for your life. Your first vision for your life needs to be that you want to please Allah. You want to serve Allah. You want to serve Him in terms of your daily worship and your ibadah, but also you want to serve Allah by being used by Allah for the Islamic project in the world. Whether that's on a dawah level, a social level, whatever it is, you want to be involved in that. So how does that transform from your vision for your life into an intention for your goal? Well, there are building blocks that you need in life to achieve your vision. So let's say you have experience in life, right? You've done things. Some of those things lit you up. You were good at them, or you really enjoyed them, or you found them really fulfilling. That is a sign that that could be your direction in life. It might be that you really enjoyed working with people, like face to face. You really loved that. Maybe you did some volunteering. You worked at a soup kitchen or something, and you really found something about that. Now, you haven't done too much of that work, but that is a sign that you should do more in that direction and really find what exactly about it did you enjoy. And maybe you could get deeper and deeper into that charity sector, for example. So your vision now becomes clearer in your life because you're taking action on it and you're discovering what your big direction in life could be. Someone like Abdurrahman al-Sumayt, rahimahullah, he was a big Kuwaiti dawah champion in East Africa especially, and also he was involved in charity. And he had this vision in his life from very early that he wanted to get involved in charity work and also in dawah. And he eventually dedicated his whole life to that. But there was something that he must have done early on to find out this was his thing. Because it's not everyone's thing. Everybody will have their direction and their way that they want Allah to use them. But it's your job, if you don't know what that is yet, to find out what that is by doing. I was just talking to Malik Shah the other day, and he was working on different goals and succeeding at them with, alhamdulillah, our help and our structure that we have in place. But he said, you know what? I'm feeling a bit lost right now. It's like anything that I would work to, any goals I would work to now, feel a bit purposeless. And so I said, that means you need to find your direction. You need to find your thing. And the biggest way you find your thing is by doing and then reflecting over what you liked and disliked, what you were good at and not good at. And eventually, the more you do, you're going to find your direction. And from that direction, you could create a good intention. And now you've got a golden seed that has a lot of barakah in it that you can plant. Next thing, when you have your seed, you need to plant it in the best soil, the soil of halalness, right? Meaning that when you're working towards your vision, there might be steps in the way. One thing might be that you need to earn a certain income, or you need to start a business, or you need to get married or move to a certain country in order to get closer to your vision. That might be part of what's required, right? But the way you do that needs to be fully halal. You can't be compromising. You can't have an amazing vision of working for the sake of Allah, but then you're compromising in certain areas. This also means that you need to have your daily, for example, bit of Quran that you read. You need to have your adhkar, you need to have your dua and your istighfar especially. You need to be seeking forgiveness from Allah to allow Him to remove the burden of sins from you so that you can move forward more smoothly towards what is good. So planting that seed of a golden intention in a blessed soil, it doesn't mean just doing things in a halal way. It also means trying to do things in the best way, that Allah would put the most barakah in, and removing the things that slow us down, like sins. Because all the non-Muslim books that you could read in success in the world will never give you this advice, that if you want to succeed, you have to seek forgiveness from Allah, you have to ask from Allah, and you have to have your trust and have a good opinion of Allah. They will never tell you this. Some of them will say to have a good opinion of the universe, but they won't say Allah. So you need this advice. And this is part of the soil that you pick for your seed. It needs to be a soil that you have tilled and you've nurtured so that you remove any sins and any dirt from it. You need to do the work, the daily work. Sometimes the boring work, sometimes the work that requires you to think medium and long term, not just short term, the work that needs patience. The biggest advice I have for this is focus. Once you've found your vision and your direction in life, be focused. Don't work on 10 different things at a time. Don't even work on 3 different things at a time. What I find that works is working on 1, maximum 2 things at a time as main projects. Make serious progress on them. And then maybe when they're in kind of maintenance mode, you can move on to a new project. But don't start more than 2 things ever at one go. And then on top of that, watering the plant and really putting the work in means having plans, being very specific on what your goals are for this quarter, these 90 days, being very clear on that, having a week by week plan of what you're going to do each week, and then definitely measuring your progress and also having accountability. You need accountability. You need somebody asking you at least once a week, you said you would do this last week, have you done it? Oh, I did this, I didn't do that. Why didn't you do it? Not in a way of like, I'm going to bash you, but like, why didn't you do it? That pressure alone helps you, but then also why didn't you do it? So you can reflect over why you didn't do it, and together you can fix that. And this is the system that I put together called the Brotherhood Action Protocol that really solves all the barriers when it comes to procrastination and taking aggressive action. So once you have that clear intention, which is your seed, you have the amazing soil that you're planting it in, and then you're doing the work to water that plant and nurture it so it grows into that tree that really brings fruit. Then on the journey of that, you might find another problem. That you're actually a smart guy, you're a deep thinker, and because of that you get a lot of barriers when it comes to your mindset, a lot of risks. You can see a lot of risks and a lot of reasons why things won't work, and that is actually causing you to procrastinate. So in order to fix that very common, very big problem, you need to watch this next video, which will explain why you do that and how you can actually use your intelligence for your project rather than it being a reason to slow you down. So watch that video right now and I'll see you over there.